everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about Little Nightmares and my theories on this horror. So let's get to it. So the story of Little Nightmares is a story about Six, a 9-year-old girl trapped on the Maw. The Maw is a surreal resort catering to the whims of powerful creatures. After waking up in the lower depths of the Maw, Six decides to escape the harsh confines, having moments of excruciating hunger. Also, by the way, if you haven't played this game, spoiler alert, I will be fully talking about the plot, the characters, and what my thoughts are, and the ending, so you've been warned. Okay, so basically this is a story of Six, who is trapped within the Maw. She is going to have to use her intelligence and her size to get out of this trap. There are a lot of theories of how she got there, who put her there, and how she gets out of there. So the first thing I want to talk about, the name of the ship called the Maw, the throat or jaws of a voracious animal, also the mouth or gullet of a greedy person, which just sets the tone. Just as soon as you hear the name of the ship is called the Maw, it already struck fear into my heart as soon as I heard that. We see the lady at the very beginning. It's as if we're at the bottom of a well looking up at her. It's very hazy and looking at her, and we don't know who she is or why we're looking at her. Also, throughout the game, there are collectibles that are statues that look like the lady, that when you pick them up and throw them, they release a black smoke. Do these dolls contain her essence? Is every time that Six throws one of these dolls, because I don't know, it obviously doesn't change the story, but does this empower Six every time she releases the spirit of the doll? We also see other children trapped in cages being used as food. I even tried to, during my playthrough, I tried to save one of the kids in the crates and tried to drag them with me. And in the game, you can't even help the children. She doesn't even attempt to try and help the children when she herself is trapped. They also seem like they are in some sort of coma or haze that they cannot come out of. They physically look different than Six, so she doesn't try and help the other kids. She just is trying to persevere and save herself, which is strange. I was like, why can't we set some of these children free? Why is it just we're trying to save ourselves? We also never see Six's face. No one in this game can we actually see their faces, which comes into play later on, which we will get to. In the logo of the game, there is Six, her face and her hood, and you can see her face, but like the outline of her hood and her face is in the logo of the game. Her silhouette of her hat and face closely resemble the icon that is shown throughout the entire game. It is all over. It is infiltrated every area of the game. Is this a premonition? Is this like some foreshadowing that Six's silhouette is shown within the logo of the game? I don't know. Now, when we first see Six, we walk into a room and we see a man, his body hanging from the ceiling, skinny legs, long skinny legs, has committed suicide. So at the beginning, you don't really realize, because you haven't met any of the other characters yet, except you've only seen the lady's face. You don't know that everyone else in this world is completely and morbidly obese. He is the only skinny person that is fully formed, that looks like an actual person. And him and the lady and this person is the only two who are not obese in the entirety of the game. Now, why did he commit suicide? Was it because of Six being thrown away into the bowels of the Maw? Is he married to the lady and that she runs this ship and she knows that what she does causes the deaths of these people who are horrible people, the guests that come upon the ship? They eat and eat and eat, and it's never enough, and they're just obsessed and they're addicted. But no matter how much food they have, when they see Six run by, they attempt to eat her and forego all the food that they have in front of them. They just want the living flesh. So the man who committed suicide, is he resisting this urge to eat of the human flesh, or was he like the lady and had powers? So as soon as we start to see the other characters in the game with the food and the guests and the chefs, it became pretty clear that the theme was addiction, gluttony, power, vanity. These remind me of the 7 deadly sins. As soon as I started, got a little bit farther into the game, gluttony is one of them. There's so much food for them to eat and they never stop eating. And even though they are eating all this food, they still want to chase the living things, the living thing that is Six, and they will stop at nothing to get to her first, even though she's so small and she's a living thing and they have all this other food. Greed, they have so much, but they still want more and they won't stop. And also vanity. Is there a reason why that they are so vain that everyone in the game covers their face have masks, the characters have masks? It's not really clear at first, but the chefs, you can clearly see them sticking the food up from underneath their necks, under their masks, so they can eat. Why do they cover their faces? So I think there's a pretty obvious reason why they have their face covered, and we'll get to that. So there was just a few of these deadly sins that really stood out to me, and as soon as I was playing, there is a point where Six's hunger takes over so badly that she is forced to eat a live rat. The starvation, the hunger is so overwhelming, so overpowering, she has no choice. Now, this point where we start to watch Six have her hunger scenes. A good friend to the channel, my CEO of Easter eggs, The Lost Shoes, she screenshot one of the hunger scenes and she had realized that there is a dark Six in the room when Six is eating. It is like a mirror image, a dark mirror image of Six, all in black. And before she disappears, she has that black fairy smoke that emanates from her before she disappears, and she's only there for like a few seconds, and it's very hard to see her. But if you look really closely and slow down the footage, you can actually see her in all of the hunger scenes. Why is she there? Thanks to the Lost Shoes for showing that to me. It just opened up a whole new door for this game that I didn't even know existed, and I was so happy when she told me about this. So what does this Dark Six mean? Is it her twin? Because there are twin chefs in the game as well, but is it her dark twin? Is this Dark Six guiding her, showing her, telling her what she needs to do? There's no dialogue in this game. There's no audio cues before she shows up except for the music that plays when Six eats. Is this Dark Six showing Six what she needs to do to survive the maw, to get through? Or is she influencing her in her bloodlust towards the food, and then where it progresses to the living things with the rat? And later on, unfortunately, to my incredible dismay, the gnome, oh my God, I'm still shook over that. I can't even think about it. I have blocked it out. I am still so tore up over that, and that killed me. Or is this Dark Six the physical manifestation of Six's hunger? It seems like this is the hunger that all of the guests have. It's the hunger that drives the inhabitants on the maw to just feast on flesh. Six doesn't seem to acknowledge her, so I don't think she even knows that Dark Six exists. I don't know if it's an actual physical entity, if it is just another one of the creatures on the maw. What do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts on Dark Six, because this was a huge story point in this game for me. I also have some screenshots from the Little Nightmares Accolades trailer. In the last scene, you see a child dressed in dark clothing, black hair. You don't see the face, and they're jumping off the ship onto land. And in the far off distance, it looks like there is someone tiny, almost in a brightly colored, maybe yellow, waving. It's so, I had to slow it down. I can't slow it down any further. If anyone can, let me know what you see. I will show the image now so you can see it. So, but I have never come across this image in the game. Is this game going to continue, or is this the lore that goes on in the story that we just haven't gotten to, that no one has found yet? How can we get to see this scene? I have no idea, but I have yet to come across it in the game, but it is in the Accolades trailer. Was this scene cut? But why is it in the Accolades trailer? It's so compelling. And I was so obsessed with finding out why this child, who it was, and escaped. Is it Dark Six? It's a physical child. It's not an ethereal smoke that disappears and, appears at will. So what do you guys think about it? I am so curious to see, but no one's talking about that scene, so I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. After we have to eat that poor baby gnome, I was so upset after we have to eat the gnome. You try and go to eat the sausage, and she just doesn't go for it. So she kills the gnome, and we eat him alive. And it is terrifying, and it was so shocking. I was so shocked and so disturbed by that whole scene in such a way. It really got to me. I was so upset. And then after that, we wind up going to the ladies' quarters. As we see her whole living area, we see that there are a bunch of pictures that are covered up, and all of the mirrors are broken. There is a picture of a child wearing yellow in her bedroom, but you can't see the face. Is it 6? Is that why she has it covered up? She doesn't want to be reminded of what she had to do to 6? Is it a rite of passage for these children for this to happen, that one takes over after the other one has gone? Is this an unending cycle of death, of feeding and death? Is 6 the actual 6th one? Is she the 6th entity to go through this? Is that why the lady wanted to get rid of her? Was she afraid that she was so powerful that 6 could overcome her in her powers? Is that why she, threw her down to the depths of the maw? Is 6 the one to grow strong enough to kill the lady and absorb her power after she destroys her and eats her? And even in the pictures, I said it when I was actually playing through the game, there is a picture of the ladies in the middle, and on each side of her there are 2 people. So there are 5 people in the picture. Is 6 the 6th one? And at the end, 6 does defeat the lady, and she feeds on her. And after she feeds on her, the black smoke emanates from her. She absorbs her power. And as she's leaving the feeding area with all the guests, she feeds off their souls. The black smoke just comes swirling around her, and they all die when she passes by them. She has become the lady. She has absorbed her powers. So after 6 makes her way out, after devouring the souls of the guests, you can see her heading out, up the steps, into the light, out of the dark depths of the maw. And then the game ends. You wait around for the final cutscene, the after credit scene, and you're waiting and you're waiting. You're just standing there outside the mall. And at the very last minute, you hear a ship's horn go off. And it is time for the next group of guests to come. Supposedly this happens once a year. How long has 6 been trying to escape and get out? It could very well possibly be a year. We have no sense of time, there's no day-night cycle. We have no idea how long we've been in there for. We just go by the hunger. Is 6 waiting to be rescued, or is she waiting on the next shipment of human flesh? Was she destined to take over for the lady? Was she her 6th child? Was she 6th in line? Or was she just a child trying to escape and survive? Why were all the pictures of children in her room? Was it a picture of the lady herself, or was it a picture of 6? I did a little research on mirrors and superstitions. And this is a quote. There are many legends and superstitions surrounding mirrors. Mirrors are said to be a reflection of the soul, and they were often used in traditional witchcraft as tools for scrying or performing other spells. It also said that mirrors cannot lie, and they can only show the truth. So it is a bad omen to see something in the mirror which should not be there. This is why they all wear the mask, so as not even to accidentally see their reflection, looking back at them to see all of the horrors of their murderous deeds. The chefs taking the children and grinding them up and feeding them to the guests. The janitor who takes the children and keeps them in cages and then ships them off to the chefs. The guests who know what they're feeding on, they know they're feeding on human flesh. And they actually chase 6. They do not care. They are consumed by feeding off of the flesh. And lastly, the lady. She cannot bear to look at herself because she runs the ship. So if you go on the website, they have a character profile for the lady, and her character profile says, "A watchful eye with graceful restraint, the lady casts the hypnotic spell that keeps the engine running." So she does it with her powers, with her mind. Amidst the chaos of the world outside, the maw is the only place that makes sense. And now this rumor of an escaped child threatens everything. Nothing can be allowed to interfere. The guests must eat. The maw must survive. She is doing this to keep some sort of balance, obviously, but what is going on in the world outside where she needs to do this, and she needs to keep this running? She needs to keep this death machine running, this vicious cycle over and over again. But why? What will happen if she doesn't? 6 becomes the villain in this. When I came to that realization, after she ate the gnome and then she absorbs the lady's power, she starts with the live rat, and then she goes to the gnome, and when she has a clear ethical choice of what to eat, he's trying to help her. The whole game we're hugging them, we're trying to, and it's even more insidious now that I think about it, because why is that a mechanic that we hug them? It's like we are just lulling them into a false sense of security so we can eat them when we become stronger. It's so bizarre and so insidious. It just shook me. And then she finally consumes the lady. And then all of the passengers' souls. She doesn't have to feed off their flesh anymore. Like the lady, who's very thin. Obviously, she's not partaking of the flesh herself, but she is eating their souls. So that's why she's thin. So I have no doubt in my mind that 6 is waiting for the ship to come in, but it is not to be rescued. She is waiting to hunt them, and she is going to devour their souls. The awful part of this game is that the guests have a choice. They have all this food to eat, even though it is already obviously human flesh and they're cannibals. They still chase after 6 and proceed to eat her. When you get caught, they will shove you right in their mouth. Even though they have a limitless supply of food, of flesh and meat, they become frenzied to catch her and to consume her. But this game leaves us with more questions than answers. I have the same feeling that I did when I played Inside. It is such a compelling story. It is so frightening and disturbing, and how we're rooting for 6 and we're hoping that she survives this, and then she turns out to be the hunter at the end. Is it because she has no other choice? Are they all under the spell of this hunger, and that there is no escape from it? So she really has no choice. It's either she eats or becomes eaten. But this game definitely leaves me with more questions than answers. What do you guys think? What is going on in the world outside that is so bad that they have to go to the maw to keep life moving? Is this the only way to sustain life? Is death? It's a vicious cycle. But let me know what you guys think about the themes that I brought up, about the environment, of the violence, of the humanity of it, this disturbing nature of this whole entire universe. What part of this is real? What part of it is not? So leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Have you noticed the Dark 6 and hunger scenes? Did you see the Accolades trailer with the child? Let me know what you think of the themes and theories about 6, and what do you think actually happens? No one really knows. The developers aren't talking, same as Play Dead with Inside. So let me know what you think. And I will be back with more Let's Plays, more reaction videos, more news about E3. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back with more. Run, girl, run, run, run. Oh, I gotta be slippery. I gotta be slippery, 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 slippery now. Oh, fuck. They have so much food. Why do they want to eat me? I'm so little.